नमस्कार। आज की वीडियो का कोई पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक नहीं है. दिस इज लाइक अ कॉन्वर्सेशन बिटवीन a discussion, I would say, between some of my favorite political commentators on the YouTube. That is Sham Sharma, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Kushal Mehra, with Pujita Krishna. She is hosting on behalf of the channel The Festival of Bharat. The title of the video is "We Are Liberal, Anti-Caste plus Pro-Hindutva." Sham Sharma, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, and Kushal Mehra. Okay, so Sham Sharma ka naam Shambhav Sharma. Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, let's start the video. I will give link to the original video in the description. Go and check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Come back and react with me. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Let's start.
I think this is a natural adjunct to the question that I've already asked you. You are in your respective spaces, and then through Sham Sharma show, I think you come together and you have this very riotous time, and I've seen you people reviewing the memes and all of that. But on a serious note, in the Hindu...
I have never missed that podcast thing where they all come together and review memes. Mostly I've never missed any of that. As far as I know, गलती से कोई छूट गया होगा तो नहीं कह सकता, but I watched every one of them and the memes are very hilarious.
For want of a better phrase, right Hindu right space right now. How do you align yourself? Where do you find yourself in that space? In that, are you're definitely not what people would call Hindutva, or you're not BJP leaning or RSS leaning. I don't know. I'm struggling for the right words here. But where do you align yourself ideologically, if I could use that word, within the Hindu fold?
I can see second volume of Savarkar in Kushal's background.
Do that make sense?
Yeah. Who do you want to start?
Let's go in the same order. Sham, Kushal.
I'll go first. I like to think of myself as Hindutva. I mean, I align most strongly with the ideology of Hindutva. And I like to see Indian society also move towards Hindutva. I think maybe not as much BJP aligned, even though, BJP is basically the sort of only Hindutva game in town right now. So I suppose that makes me BJP adjacent by default. But primarily, if I had to align myself with an ideology, it would be Hindutva, definitely.
Yes.
Okay. In my case, I say I'm a political Hindu.
Pujita is using a fake background. So sometimes, because she's also wearing light colors, her shoulders tend to disappear. It's a little bit funny.
Political Hindu. Okay.
Yeah, in fact,
when Sham says that BJP is the only game in town, he means politically. Because as a political party, BJP is the closest who represents Hindu interest or Hindutva. But there are other games in town. There is RSS as well. So they are not political. So I think he only means the people who are in power or who play the political game.
I had recently done a long monologue on my podcast about to explain why I'm a political Hindu. So for me, it's very clear. I don't hide my leaning. I am an open BJP voter who says I sympathize with RSS. I criticize their economic policy, but I understand their social worldview. As far as the BJP is concerned, I have no other option. As they say in Hindi, nanga nahega kya, nichodega kya. So मेरे पास कोई option नहीं है, मैं जाके BJP को vote करता हूँ. So that's, but my personal identity, as you know, a lot of times people get confused. Like, you call yourself a Charvaka, then why do you call yourself a Hindu? Well, I am also as much part of this civilization and this culture. It's like, yeah, so my materialism did not get exported. It's not like Epicurus one day traveled to India and said, there is materialism. We existed way before him also. So that is also, if you are a civilizationalist, which I am, then you automatically associate with the civilization.
I wonder what he means by civilizationalist. क्योंकि मैंने already एक video पे react किया हुआ है. I will give link to that video in the iCard, where he's talking, where he's opposing this civilizational kind of identity that J. Sai Deepak is sort of imposing in his book, according to him, कि individual के rights should not trump over civilization rights, civilizational interests or civilizational rights. That is his position कि individual ki rights should not trump over the civilizational identity is a position by J. Sai Deepak in his book. And Kushal is vehemently opposing that position. He is saying कि West में already experiments हो चुके हैं about individual liberty and they found it to be the best system, and according to him, according to Kushal, they are right. Considering an individual is the unit of a civilization should be the right way, according to Kushal. But now he is mentioning that he is a civilizationalist. So I wonder what he means by that, or which of these two positions he actually holds true.
Civilizational raison d'etre.
Identity, yeah,
yeah, and that's how I go into that camp. So people
you say,
get
Kushal,
confused.
that aligns with sort of the Hindutva ideology, because that's what that ideology espouses too, right?
Yeah. So that would be my answer. So I will find mistakes in BJP, in RSS, in current political discourse in many ways. But that doesn't change the fact that if I put all my chips on the table and I look at the larger picture, I know where I'm going. It doesn't mean that I'm this or that. I can be wherever I want to. Personally, I'm a fierce individualist. I lean very libertarian in my personal thought. I just like to be left alone. That's my thing most of the time.
That kind of contradicts. Either you are a civilizationalist or you're a libertarian or individualist. I don't know.
But at the same time, I understand why India is a civilizational state and why, for this country and this culture to survive, we need a political response. And I think that political Hinduism is the only way forward, at least in my understanding, for the future.
You're right. I mean, just because you're an individualist, just because you have your own views about certain things, or a libertarian for that matter, doesn't make you a non-Hindu. A lot of people don't understand that. I think a lot of people need to still come around to that point of view, that just because, if you're Hindu, then you need to be a very pious. You can also be that. That's the beauty of it, right? You can be this and you can be that. Coming to you, Abhijit ji, what about you?
So, I started off as a hardcore communist. So I wanted to join the KGB as a kid. I hated the American global empire. I wanted global revolution and whatnot. And, invariably what happened was puberty set in and I grew up. So I kind of turned to the right once I grew up.
This reminds me of something Sadhguru said. Sadhguru said when he was a teenager, he was also inspired a lot by Karl Marx. He was a lot into communism, but then he grew up and realized that those ideals, those principles, that system is not something that can be implemented practically. So Abhijit here is echoing kind of Sadhguru's words, or maybe that is a position across the board for people who used to be communists and then they grew up.
You took to dance.
And I took to dance as well. So what happens is that it was just one of those things where when you get rid of the mumbo jumbo and the jargon, when you focus on the bare essentials, you find that conservative economics is just much more grounded in reality than hope-based left-wing economics. See, it sounds very good. It ticks all the boxes. It's very touchy-feely, but it's a disaster in real life. There's a reason that even before communism was invented, they said that the path to hell is paved with good intentions. If you condense that,
I think that is part of the reason why this communist theory found so much traction. It is because it is very touchy and feely. If you read the Communist Manifesto now, you will agree with everything. You will be like, "Sahi to bol rahe hain. Workers, why should workers be exploited? Why shouldn't we be focusing on empowering the workers? Unki conditions itni kharab hai." Or ye sab to, like, they kind of rope you in with this emotional drama, but you so much so that you do not ponder over the practical and the economic aspects of the whole scenario.
That into one word, it's called.
Actually, I've made one video reacting to Abhijit Chavda and Beer Biceps regarding this whole topic. You can check it out.
Socialism. So it's kind of like that. So what happens is, it started off with the economic conservatism. And then what happened was, I was truly blessed in that, coming from being in a third world country, coming from an intercaste marriage with, multiple marriages of both my parents, and being gay, it was never an issue in India. It's like, what, you want an award or something? So, it's like, I thought I was special and I'm going to have this heroic stand against homophobia. And they're like, yeah. So everybody was like, yeah, okay, so what? So, it's like, it endears you to your own culture. Because, it's a very accepting, yes, are there bad aspects to it? Of course there are. Tell me one religion that doesn't have a bad aspect to it. But overall, the overwhelming majority of it is extremely accepting of whatever you do. Being weird in India is a good thing. I mean, you look at Mirabai, she's like...
how much more weird can you be, right? I mean,
how much more weird can you be? Right. I mean, how much... look at Krishna. Krishna is like the naughtiest. He's like Dennis the Menace on steroids, kind of, right? And his mother, there's that in Carnatic music, you have you have Krishnani Vegane Varo, and then you have, it's meant to be followed by Jagatodharana, when she opens the mouth and she sees the entire world inside. But she doesn't give a damn. She spanks him because she's his mother. You have that, you may be a god, but I'm your mother. In this house, you listen to me. Whack, 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 no stealing butter. Right? So you have a very playful, we're not a God-fearing people, we're a God-loving people.
Loving, yeah. And God questioning too. God questioning too.
And if you go to Kashi, if you go to Banaras, you look at the culture out there, Shiva is not this god to be feared. I have literally seen people go there and give galis to the god. Like even the sadhus out there will be khusre bosari ke. When they bless you, you touch their feet, they'll be khusre bosari ke. I have seen people go up to the temple and go abuse Shiva left, right, and center. Say, Haramzade, maine tere ko ye puja tha, tune mere ko.
Is it true? Is it like, it feels like an exaggeration to me. ऐसा तो नहीं होता होगा, I guess. But I don't know. I've never been there. If you guys have been there, please let me know in the comments. Okay, is this exaggeration, या फिर there is an element of truth to it?
नहीं किया, तू ये है, तू वो है. They have. He is a family member out there.
Yes.
You don't. It's a very nice. It's a sort of warm.
Well, there's a culture of Ninda Stutis also, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ninda Stutis, where they criticize and they literally chide the deity.
Which you're meant to. It's part of the religion to do all of that. So, when I won't describe myself completely as a Charbak, because, for me, even Nastika takes its validation in the Hindu system from the Vedas. So you look at the Nasadiya Shukta, that is where, it's, for me, the Rig Veda has always been our Treaty of Westphalia, right? Where we came together, they signed the Treaty of Westphalia in 1640 something. We signed it about 3000 BC, where we decided, we're accommodating all of you. It starts.
But where do you stand on the political spectrum is the question. I'm very curious to know.
Off with the War of the 10 Kings, where you go to war because some tribe amongst you isn't even reciting the shlokas properly. And you end with, is there even a God? So, you've accepted that each weirdo has his right to be weird, and you can do whatever you want. It's for me, Hinduism is really a state of mind. But I am very much a Hindutvavadi, because the two things about Hindutva, one is the ending of social discrimination. And the second is creating a political unit, a political advocacy unit for that Hindu, for all the weirdos of the world, is a very, very good thing. Right? So like Kushal, I can't stand their economic platform. But if you notice, I never criticize the RSS. I'll keep abusing the BJP, but see, the BJP wants my vote. Therefore, I can spit on you. The RSS has never asked me for anything. They only serve.
Correct.
So if they don't ask you for anything, you don't have the right to criticize them. You help them where you can, and that's about it.
Very true. Very true.
I would just like to add something over here. Sometimes people wonder what binds all three of us, because we are clearly very different, distinct people. And I'll tell you what binds all three of us. What binds three of us is this love for our society. That's what, because we have very different personalities. As you can see, Abhijit can dance a little bit, but we cannot.
Clearly a fascinating dancer.
Yes, but so the one common thing all three of us have is, which we figured out in the long run, is all of us are vehemently anti-casteism. That's the common like all of us, we hate it with a passion. Like it comes out very strongly in all three of us.
Interesting points. Something that I liked in Abhijit's narration of the whole thing is that he endears the cultural Hinduism, the spiritual aspect of it, the societal aspect of it, but at the same time he recognizes the importance of Hindutva in current society. Because if you read about Hindutva and get to know it a little more, you will realize that Hindutva is a political movement. It encompasses Hinduism is this wide umbrella within which falls the Sanatan dharma, within which falls Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, and within which also falls the idea of Hindutva. Now, Hindutva is a political movement which tends to gain political power. Now, which is completely necessary, क्योंकि अभी तक क्या था, हम अपने ख्यालों में रहते थे, हम किताबें लिखते थे, ज्ञान बांटते थे, but we did not realize कि एक political movement की भी ज़रूरत है, so that we are free to do what we want to do. If you want to maintain a society of tolerance, then you have to intolerate the intolerance. So उससे करने के लिए you should be in a position of power where you can dictate your own terms. क्योंकि negotiation भी अगर किसी से करनी है, you can do it only from a position of power. We cannot ask for things, we cannot make changes from a position of weakness. तो वही need है हिंदुत्व की, कि at least come together all of the weirdos of the world and then dictate the terms that you want to live in. And it also sort of talks about a contemporary version of Hinduism in which you don't necessarily worship everyone blindly. You don't necessarily follow the old feudal system of caste. Everyone can come together. It kind of diminishes the caste boundaries within the Hindu society, and also the religious boundaries that have propped up in the millennia. Like there has been a separate sects of Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, which has all branched out from Hinduism. So unko bhi the Hindutva idea encompasses all of them also, and even the Muslims who believe that the Hindustan is their motherland, they can also come together in the this political movement of Hindutva, क्योंकि जो भी हिंद महासागर से ऊपर और हिमालय से नीचे रहता है, they're all Hindu according to the Hindutva political ideology, and they all have some skin in the game, some political incentive to maintain this tolerant society that we have created from the ancient times. With this, I would like to end this video. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.